The 2023 McLaren Solus GT. Now, for years, automotive manufacturers have designed awesome digital hypercars as a part of the Vision Gran Turismo collaboration that gives you a glimpse of what they could do with no restrictions, no limitations on creativity or innovation. But those concepts have always remained just that, concepts. And I love some concepts. And these could only ever have been experienced digitally until now. The McLaren Solus GT is what happens when McLaren takes off the gloves and let loose on something, turning a Vision Gran Turismo concept into a real-life racing car. McLaren didn't just discard the rulebook on this one. It doused the thing into 110 octane gasoline and set it on blaze. Now, building a single-seater track-only hypercar around a new chassis and foregoing a turbocharged V8 that has been the brand staple since 2011, the 2023 Solus GT supercar packs a race-derived naturally aspirated V10 with 829 horsepower and a redline beyond 10,000 RPM. Only 25 will be built, and none will be road legal. But as far as the imagination being brought to life goes, McLaren has gifted us with a real treat, as you can see here. Now, revealed as a part of the Monterey Car Week festivities in California, the McLaren Solus GT has a vague release date in 2023. That when the first deliveries are scheduled to take place. Will any of these be to American buyers? Who knows? The 25 is going to be available globally, and yes, there are a lot of American buyers out there with cash money. But none will be homologated for road use. The chances of seeing one in the wild more than likely will not happen, folks. Now, this is bespoke built by McLaren Special Operations, known as MSO. Now, the price of the 2023 McLaren Solus GT will not be what one would consider cheap. Now, all 25 of these cars are going to be going for anything more than $4 million. Each are going to be built to the specification of the customers, who's going to be paying out and dishing out this kind of cash. This is something phenomenal. Now, McLaren has created a car that could be considered in a class of its own. How many other single-seat, closed cockpit, track-only hypercars are there on the local circuit? Now, the Solus GT rivals other track specials such as Pagani Huayra R and even the Aston Martin Valkyrie AMR Pro. While its high-revving, naturally aspirated powertrain may draw a comparison to a Gordon Murray T50, this is a car with no equal on concept alone, folks. The new McLaren Solus GT exterior, part Formula One car, part Le Mans prototype, the McLaren Solus GT exterior looks unlike anything else in existence. Now, some elements may have been adapted in the transition from video game to reality, but the basic premise is the same. Not quite an open-wheel hypercar, aerodynamic pods shroud the 18-inch forged aluminum wheels, center-locking items in true motorsport fashion. Now, the body is display of a perfect symmetry, with a central cockpit that can only be accessed through a sliding canopy. The glass is actually a single sheet of molded polycarbonate, and the bodywork, naturally constructed of carbon fiber, is aerodynamic to the T, both on top and underneath. Now, in former category, the wheel pods pair with the uniquely sculpted surface to lead air to the twin element high downforce rear wing, with a central spine connecting the wing and the cockpit underneath. Beautiful, huge ground effects, tunnels run along the length of the vehicle, combine all these elements to generate 2,645 pounds of downforce at speed more than the car weighs. The front splitter, the air intake, the over the cockpit, the side pods, the intakes are perhaps the most typical elements of the Solus GT design. And if anything about this, it's just awesomeness, folks. This is something else, folks. And honestly, it leaves me speechless every time I see it. And that's easy to be completely besotted with the visual look of this MSO McLaren Special Operation vehicle, but the engine of the McLaren Solus GT is special too. Folks, you're talking about a V10, a 5.2 liter aspirated, I must say naturally aspirated engine, which is something that is phenomenal, folks. We thought something of this was just great in Lamborghini's V10s. But McLaren decided to dab in the pot too, and they have made it something awesome. Something phenomenal, folks. This is one great vehicle. One great vehicle. You talk about a V10 for Formula One cars. Now, this mid-mounted, naturally aspirated car kicking out 829 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque, sent to the rear axle by 7-speed sequential gearbox. And did we say redline at 10,500 RPMs? Wow. Now, the engine and gearbox are stressed members. They form an integral part of this beautiful chassis, with the rear suspension mounted directly to the transmission. And the suspension deserves notably mention the F1 inspired front push rod and the rear pull rod activated torsion bars and the double wishbone design. The dampers are 4-way manually adjustable, and the car incorporates anti-roll bars and a heave spring and damper system at each corner. 18-inch wheels are shod in Le Mans prototype spec rubber. Both slick and wet compounds are available. This is something phenomenal, folks. Wow. This is something that dreams are made of. Now, this is one vehicle with a singular focus. Now, the interior of the McLaren Solus GT has some awesome amenities. You're talking about a seat, a single occupant that adopts a traditional leg forward racing position, as opposed to lying on your belly approach of the other Gran Turismos. This is something phenomenal. The seat is molded to the driver's body and utilizes a 6-point racing harness to keep you in place. The paddle box adjusts, and they must have learned that from the LaFerrari. And this is still something awesome, because this is also something that you see in the Ford GT, the paddle box adjusting. So drivers of different stature can pilot this beauty without an expensive dash to place the controls. The F1 inspired carbon fiber steering wheel houses the bulk of all the buttons. Something phenomenal, folks. The most surprising inclusion in the cockpit is what? Air conditioning. You gotta stay cool in a bad car like this, folks. McLaren includes also a race suit and a helmet and a head and neck safety device as a part of this package. Something phenomenal. You guys, thanks for watching. Remember, like, share, and subscribe, and have a fantastic day.